Good evening. I hope you guys had a lovely day today. I actually am filming with my little fake fireplace. But before we get on to this video, make sure to put on your cozy PJs, get a blanket, get something to eat, and get some snacks, because this story is not just a regular story. It's a personal story that had happened to me that I heard from a really good friend of mine, and it spooked me out, and it was something that I really do want to share with you guys, that I actually thought that stood out to me. So this is back when I was 10 years old. I grew up in Peru and I made friends. I used to go to school over there. So a lot of things like that we knew, like where I lived, which is in Lima, and where the house is still there and I still visit. Everybody knows everybody. So, and everybody is very helpful with each other. So, meanwhile, I talk, actually, disclaimer or side note, I'm gonna do my makeup. Alright, sorry. I'm over here pausing. But, what had happened was, I'm not gonna mention her name, but my friend's my friend's sister, she was a little bit older than us, but she was telling me this was something back when she was like younger, like around 7 years old or so. So this happens to girls that do not get baptized and have long, beautiful hair. So keep in mind. This girl had mentioned to me that her sister had this imaginary friend, right? And I know, like, it's not weird, like an imaginary friend. Like, you probably had your little imaginary friend. I didn't, but she did. So she would always do like tea parties and stuff with her little imaginary friend and stuff like that. So, which her dad actually thought it was weird, but you know, the mom was like, oh, just let her be, like let her do her type thing. And one day the girl started telling her mom of this little imaginary friend, like describing like where this imaginary friend lives. So the mom was like, oh, like, you know, tell me more about your friend. And she said that it was a he, and that he lived outside her room. And in my apartment that I used to live, the rooms, well, her side was the patio, like, so there's like a gate, and then you walk in and there's like a garden and stuff like that, but you have to have like a key to like get in or whatever. But in that garden there's this big tree, so her bedroom literally had like the full view of the tree, which is where her friend was living at. So her friend was living there, and the mom was just like, oh, okay, you know, like, that's not weird, but whatever. So this girl proceeded to say, like, hey, you know, he had mentioned that he liked my hair and that he likes how it's long and it's pretty. Mind you, my friend's sister, she had like nice brown hair. Well, she still does. But the friend that she has was very like on it with this girl's hair or whatever. So one day my friend had told me that her sister woke up with these marks, like scratches and stuff like that on her body. So she went and she told her mom, like, oh, I have these scratches and marks that, like, why are they even there? And the mom got scared because she thought that it was probably her daughter who did that. Meanwhile, she was sleeping, or like she probably fell off the bed and she didn't know about it. Something like she was just, you know. So she went and the mom didn't think too much about it, and she just let it be. But as time passed, she started seeing that my friend's sister started acting strange, and she was not wanting to eat. Like, she was very particular in her hair. Like, she always had it braided when usually she always just had it down. But this girl, like, would just have her hair braided all the time. And it was to like a certain side as well, which was pretty weird. So the girl, you know, she wasn't active and stuff like that. She just was always facing the tree, and she was just playing with her friend. So my friend had mentioned that the mom, well, her mom had took her to the doctors because she was worried. Like, she was not acting like herself. Like, she was always upbeat and stuff like that. And now she's just facing a tree, like playing with this friend. So the doctor was like, oh, well, she's pretty normal and, you know, everything's okay and whatever. So the mom just felt like something was off, and she decided to take her to a curandero. And if you guys are from Latin America, like, you know, when stuff happens, like, stuff be happening, and they be taking you to the curanderos, and they sometimes fix that problem. So they had realized, they had took her to the curandero to see what was going on. And the mom had mentioned, like, hey, like, my daughter had said that she has like a little, like, a friend, and then like she keeps just looking outside, and she was telling her everything that was going on in the house. So the curandero was like, well, have you realized of like marks in her body and stuff? And she was like, yeah. So, and then they're like, and do you have like a certain, I forgot what kind of tree it was that she mentioned, but a tree, this certain tree by the house? And she's like, yeah, I do. So they told her that it was basically un duende. And I don't know if you guys know much about duendes, but duendes? No wonder she was saying like about the braided hair, about the friend, about, you know, the scratches and stuff like that. That's just like pretty creepy. So the girl goes, and, you know, this girl looks all dehydrated, all like just crazy. And they start, you know, they told this lady, my friend's mom, that the only way to have this duende get away from her is by cutting her hair and by baptizing her. So that's what my friend's mom decided to do. They went and they got scared. They went and took my friend's sister to el curandero. To to get baptized and stuff like that. And things started to get better, but before things got better, it kind of got a little bit worse. So she started to, you know, experience like people like tugging on her and stuff, like something was tugging on her, bothering her, and whatever the case was. So then they decided, you know what, like we gotta do this ASAP. And that's where they took my friend's sister to get all this done, right? They go, they get it all done, and finally, once they did the hair cutting, they baptized her and stuff. Because in Peru, the thing about baptism is like it takes freaking time. Like it takes centuries to even do communion. Like for communion, for me, it took forever because I have to get it approved. Like you have to go to classes and stuff. So I could only imagine like just regular baptism. And mind you, she was already older, so there had to be other things to get approved. Besides when you're little, like you don't need to do none of that. I think you just do it. So the girl then decided, I'm sorry, I'm doing my liner. So then the girl went, and after they baptized her, everything like went back to normality, right? But it didn't end there, because my friend, she wasn't baptized, and she had long hair as well. So she was telling me on her point of view, like what she saw and what she experimented on her side was she started seeing this little man, and she was telling her sister about it, this little man or whatever, like, oh, I see him or whatever the case is. And then the sister told the mom. But prior to that, she started seeing the little man show up like by her window, because they were sharing rooms. Besides that, she wasn't seeing it, but now she's seeing it. Okay, so she goes and she starts getting all this stuff. She started to tell me how she started feeling and blah blah blah. And she goes and she's like, you know what, I think it's time for me to say something, because I don't want to be like my sister. So she goes and she started the baptism, and they cut her hair and they baptized her. Oh, my eye. Sorry. And they baptized her, and she finally didn't get to see this little person. Do I think that's true? I mean, I always believed her story. I always believed her. I just think, and now, like, I can't even talk to her sister, because her sister is not even, like, doesn't live there. And I don't even have, like, a way for me to reach out. But I could reach out to her and, like, tell her to tell the story and how she felt and what she went through. But she said that before it got worse, like her sisters did, she just decided to nip it in the butt and tell her mom. So I think she did the perfect, like the right thing to do, because that's creepy. So fast forward time, she goes and she told me that she bought her sister later on bought her little niece, right? And her niece started to, mind you, her niece is not baptized. So her niece started to experiment the same thing. She started to say that she had this little friend, and oh snap, I should have, oh my god, I'm sorry, I messed up. She said she started to have the same, basically the little friend, and she saw this little leprechaun duende thing. The girl started to get scared because she knew what she was going through. And she would always wake up and see the girl have her hair braided and stuff like that. So then she went to to her church and told them, like, hey, this is what's going on. What can you do for my niece and stuff? And they told her it's best to just, you know, baptize her, because it seems that it's something that could be going, like, happening. Like, this is like something that happens, I guess, if you're not baptized, from what I was being told. So they take her niece to get baptized, and now she's perfectly fine, I guess. Do I know why does that tree, and that tree still stands. Like, I have been to my country and, like, that tree is still there. Nobody has moved that tree. And since my friend was there and stuff like that, like, she always has pointed out that that's where he would always hang out. And I think that was creepy because, well, on my end, my apartment doesn't face that side. It always faces out towards the road. So I'm not able to see that. And either way, I was baptized prior, like since I was very little. So for both of the girls actually, and her niece, to experience that is just beyond me. Because oh heck no. I can't bear that. Like, but she then told me, like, her experiences was like she was always like getting tormented and stuff. But then, like, she said, like, this little person like to play with their hair and like to do those braids and stuff, which is why she always had it like that. Like, that's weird and that's crazy. So she then later down the line, as we grew older, she decided to, you know, move out of that house. Her grandmother still lives there. Her mom lives there and stuff. And she decided to come to the States and just live over here and just, you know, travel the world and stuff like that. But she doesn't like to talk much of that because it freaks her out, because it's something that she experienced with her sister. But she said that it was a pretty scary time of her life that she went through. And I could only imagine, because, girl, that sounds creepy. Do you think that duendes are real? Or do you not think that duendes are real? The world may never know if they are a real thing. I know in not my own experience, but people had mentioned that they had encounters with them. Obviously, I'm talking about South America, that they had encounters of seeing them or seeing them in their homes, or, you know, sometimes they do think that they're good luck, but they're actually not. Like, if you really think about it, they're not. They're harmful beings based off of what my friend had told me, because this thing was like out to like harm her. Like, who would do such a thing? I guess there's duende, but yeah, so, you know, I just think it was a little creepy that had happened to her, and I hope everything, I mean, now obviously everything is better, but I know I have heard a lot of stories that these duendes do not just like stay in one country. Like, this happens all over, like all over South America from what I heard. But yeah, like, there's been sightings of the duendes, and a lot of girls always, like, it's a sign when they're around that, you know, that he braids your hair, and he just likes that, like, he be about it. So that's just insane how that had to happen to her. If you guys have ever had a problem of, well, not a problem, but like, if you guys have ever seen a duende, or like come into an interaction with them, you guys should comment below and tell me your stories, or like, what would be a good story for me to share, like, personally I might have. Because in all honesty, I've had so many things that had happened to me that I've seen that it just like really spooked me out. I think the next one that I have, it's a short one, but I think it did spook out like my family. It spooked me out, and because I lived it, and it actually was over here when I moved to Peru, to the US. So I wish I could attach photos of my home over there in Peru, but I can't because I'm unable to find it. I've tried and I can't find my building apartment, but actually if I could find it, I'll attach it into this video. But what do you guys think? Like, do you guys think that duendes are real? Do you guys think that you should get baptized and, like, you know, so you don't see the duendes? Or do you think they're like other beings that just kind of like fairies and stuff like that, like demonic stuff or something? What do you guys think? And if you guys have any experiences, definitely comment below. Tell me your story, or whatever you think is cool for me to talk more in depth about. But yeah, that's my little story that I had with my friend, and that she had mentioned to me that I thought was pretty crazy. So until next time, bye.